This is the date and time set for the August meeting of the Westland Planning Commission. It is currently 6:02. If I can have everybody in attendance, please join us, rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Thank you very much. First, if I may please have a roll call.
I think everyone's present. Durati?
Present.
Folks?
Present.
Hobbs?
Present.
Hopkins?
Present.
Richards?
Present.
Rounds?
Present.
Stachow?
Present.
Swokas?
Present.
Rappaport?
Present.
Everyone is present.
Thank you very much, administration. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. I believe that there's a request for recognition for amendments to the minutes before they are approved. Recognizing Mr. Swokas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On page 6, if we go halfway down where it says motion by Swokas, supported by Nichols, there was no motion on that at that point. That's when we were doing the denial for the change of the zoning with the, I believe with the car wash. So there was not a motion made at that point between Ruby and I on that one. So if I move that we strike that. And then references to the traffic study under my name, it was, if I recollect correctly, and I went back and watched the video, that it was basically not a recommendation of a traffic study, but to take a look at what was what the traffic thing was, and to get a response back from the traffic bureau of the police department for the purposes of just understanding that we know that it's looked at. And then further down, we could see that that was addressed, that you asked, Mr. Chairman, for them to get back with us on that.
Very good then. I'll accept a motion for approval of minutes subject to the adjustments by Mr. Swokas.
So moved.
Support.
Hearing the motion from Mr. Rounds, supported by Ruby Richards. And those in favor, please indicate so. Aye.
Aye.
Those nay. The ayes have it. Moving on to citizens' comments. At this time, we would invite any citizens who are in attendance to approach the podium. If you had anything to add to our agenda that's not currently on there, or any concerns relevant to the business agenda, which we are about to engage, there should be today's agendas at the podium if you need to take a quick look at it. Anybody on my right? I'll come back. Anybody on my left? There's a single item on the agenda, ma'am. Would you like to rise to the podium? This is just to make certain there will be an opportunity for the public to speak on the agenda item.
Oh, when you hit it?
When it becomes the item that we are dealing with.
So I guess that's when my comments will happen then.
I will be more than happy to hear you. Thank you very much. Once again, on my right, anything to add or to comment generally? Hearing none, we will move on to our first business item and only business item on the agenda, which is a public hearing. So we will be looking to hear from our citizens. Administration, can you please tell us about case number 1686H?
Yes, Chair, thank you. The subject parcel is comprised of about 12.5 acres. It's zoned CB3. That's our general commercial business district. The petitioner today is proposing to transform the vacant building formerly occupied by Value City Furniture, which is about 82,000 square feet, into a self-storage warehouse, I believe climate controlled. There are no major modifications being proposed to the exterior of the building or to the site itself. Self-storage warehouses are permitted in the CB3 zoning district subject to special land use approval, and therefore the petitioner is here tonight requesting that special land use approval. Adjacent land uses and zoning, I'll read those on the record. Property to the north is GAR Garden Apartment, developed by the Wilderness Park Apartments. Properties to the east are Zone CB3 and developed by a variety of commercial and retail uses, some of them within this plaza. Property to the south is Zone CB3 as well and developed by Meyer. You can kind of see their detention basin there on the screen and the parking lot to the left-hand side. Property to the west is also Zone CB3 and developed by Famous Dave's restaurant. I'll read some of the site issues, not issues, just matters and operations on the record. Again, there's no major modifications being proposed to the existing site. The existing building is constructed with brick material and metal paneling for accent materials. The bulk requirements of the existing building are all in comply with the setbacks and all of the bulk requirements for the CB3 district. For access, there are various points of access provided from both Central City Parkway and Warren Road that are shared throughout the Central City Plaza Shopping Center, which this shopping center is called. Also some cross-access with the adjacent building that houses the gym. I forget the name at the moment. The self-storage warehouse is expected to generate little traffic, and the site does comply with the required amount of off-street parking spaces. There is no outdoor storage proposed here at this building. I also had a conversation early on with the petitioner and asked if there will be truck rentals as part of this operation, truck and trailer rentals. And the answer is no, hoping the petitioner can confirm that on the record. The site contains existing screening and landscaping along Warren Road to screen parking areas and the parking lot from the roadway. All of this is in conformance and compliance with the zoning ordinance. The self-storage facility will be open, confirm if this is still correct, from Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The facility expects to employ about 4 individuals on site during business hours. The facility will also offer 24/7 access to customers, and there will be security cameras around the building. The 2018 City of Westland Master Plan Future Land Use Map indicates shop and dine district for this site. In our study session that we just had, it was mentioned that this use is not in full compliance with that future land use vision, and that is true. However, the administration feels that this building, as an old big box retail type building, is extremely hard to occupy. In its 3+ years that it's been vacant, we have received 0 calls of interest outside of this individual to repurpose this plaza. There are a number of either vacant or occupied retail buildings similar to this big box building that have been occupied mostly by industrial type operations, and we want to avoid that from happening with this specific building here. We feel that a self-storage facility will still attract some of the regular daytime population that tends to drive through the major corridor and could potentially shop in the adjacent shopping areas. We also feel that this site here will be just outside of the true shop and dine / downtown district that we hope to create that will be at the mall area itself. So with that said, the Administration and Planning Department recommends approval of this petition. I am here to answer any questions on behalf of the administration, and the petitioner is also present today to answer any questions about the site operations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Petitioner, as I understand, the petitioner is in the audience, is that correct?
Yes.
If I could please have you rise to the podium and introduce yourself to the panel.
Good evening. My name is David Landry, and I represent Deal Point Merrill, the applicant for special land use this evening. As the administration has indicated, the property is zoned CB3, General Commercial Business District, part of a larger retail shopping center, Crossings at Westland, which is very near here. Under CB3, self-storage is allowed as a special land use, not a principal permitted use. What we are proposing is an adaptive reuse of a vacant commercial building. Now, the building is kind of different. It's the portion we're proposing is V-shaped, and we are proposing to purchase the west wing and a third of the eastern wing. However, I'd like to make it clear from the start, there is no intention to change the size of the building, the height of the building, the footprint of the building, or the parking. There would be absolutely no truck rentals, no U-Haul, nothing like that. The only activity will be inside the building. From outside, it'll look exactly the same, other than whatever signage the city allows us to have. The exterior, we're not changing the facade or anything. It would be exactly the same. The proposed use, I also would like to be clear, is indoor climate-controlled self-storage. Typically, when we think of self-storage, we think of the long garage-type buildings, one story with a bunch of garage doors. That is not what this is. This is an indoor two-story. It's only one story now. It's extremely high. For a portion of the building, we plan on making a second level, but not increasing the height of the building. It's climate-controlled, indoor. The proposed use, we believe, is significantly less intense than some principal permitted uses in a CB3 district, a supermarket, a hardware store, sporting goods store, or indeed some of the historical uses here. Hours of operation, I would like to clear up. We did say in our application, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We would like to be open till 6 p.m. if that's okay. We believe that that, again, is a lot less than a supermarket or a hardware store could be. We would like the option to open on Sunday if the demand allows it. But technically, our main hours are Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's when we have employees there. If you are a customer of Just Storage, you would have the ability to have 24/7 access with a code and security and things of that nature. But it would be, we would have workers there from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. The users of this type of facility is different than the user of the traditional long garage type self-storage. And the reason it creates less traffic is because people store their items here for a longer period of time. The whole essence of climate controlled is, as the title indicates, is you can store things here and it won't be susceptible to moisture, heat, or freezing damage. So we have a lot of professionals, like hospitals and things like that, that will come and store old medical records or pieces of equipment that they don't use all the time. And it's cheaper for them to store it here than it is in their office building and pay the higher office rents for that. Also, a lot of small businesses. You know, today, as we're all familiar, you know, work at home is the big deal now. And so a lot of people have to store items, records and things like that. And so our customers run the gamut of the larger and the smaller. And this type of use is growing nationally. And so we've looked at the markets. We're excited about being in Westland. We think we'll meet the needs of the people of Westland. As the administration pointed out, running through the special land use criteria in section 110-13.4, when we look at this, the location will minimize the impacts on the surrounding uses. The traffic will be less than some other uses. That could be principal permitted uses. Minimize the impact on surrounding properties regarding location and screenage of outdoor storage. There is none. There is no outdoor storage. Location and screening of vehicle circulation, there's no change. No change in the footprint, or it's part of a larger shopping center, which will remain the same. Bulk placement, no change. Setbacks, no change. Lighting, stormwater drainage, no change. Landscaping, no change. Bulk construction materials, no change. Traffic, less traffic. The administration addressed the master plan. I think the administration, I agree with what the administration suggested. It's shop and dine. However, as the written report from the administration indicated, the shop and dine district is to promote commercial uses, which focuses on retail and services, which this would do. Also, your master plans, but one of the goals is to support business growth and growth of entrepreneurship, which is home businesses need storage, entrepreneurship. Compatible with adjacent uses, there's no change, and the uses have been adjacent for years. We're proposing 83,000 square feet. If approved, our timeline would be to close on the property in September. October, submit the construction drawings, site plan approval documents, obtain permits. Completion, 7 months from the time we start, we would be completed and open for business. So with that, we have also with us a representative directly of Deal Point Amero, who is happy to answer any other questions, or I'm happy to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Thank you very much. If I can have you take a convenient seat, we'll have you sit down. We'll open it up to the citizens for their comments. Then we'll bring you back up so that we can have you address the concerns of the citizens and the questions from the board itself.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, this is a public hearing, as I promised. This is the point where we do ask for citizens' comments on the proposal as it stands. At this time, if there are any citizens that are interested in commenting, we would like you to approach the podium, identify yourself, and state your and make whatever statement you feel that you require to make. Is there anybody on my right wishing to speak? Ma'am, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sure, thank you.
My name is Barb Yatermeyer, and my neighbor Ann here. We live in Deerhurst condominiums, which is right, you can kind of see where they are, to the south of the buildings. And we were just concerned that something was going to go in there, and when I heard storage, I was thinking of the long buildings, and I thought, uh-oh, they're going to take out our trees. And that's the only thing I have concern about, because the trees, when they're in bloom, we don't have to look at all this lovely back of these buildings. So just don't take our trees down, that's all I ask. And it sounds like it's all good. So I just wanted to make sure of that, so that's it. I love my trees. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Seeing no citizens on my left, I am going to call for anybody on my left before I return to my right. Anybody on my right, would you like to speak, sir?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, panel. My name is Douglas Fisher. You guys may recognize me. I'm councilman here. Huge fan of this. I definitely think we need to do something in this area. Giant retail buildings are not going to fill up anytime soon. It's kind of an old dying age of these buildings, and we need to do something with it. I would definitely prefer we allow this company to be open on Sundays, though. If they want to run their business, who are we to get in the way of them having their doors open on Sunday for business? That's all I got, and trees are a good thing. I definitely want to keep the trees if possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Returning to the left, seeing none, returning to the right. Ma'am, the neighbor, would you like to?
No, but she said it all.
Pretty much everything's been said then. All right, seeing no more citizens, If I can please have the petitioner return to the podium, and we'll turn it over to the commission. At this time, are there any, I'll be looking for comments from the commissioners. I'll start on my right and then go to my left. Anybody on my right? Recognizing Commissioner Durante.
Okay, you're proposing a second store in there. How do you plan on getting up there?
There would be elevators, sir.
Okay. How are the people supposed to bring their stuff into the storage unit? Carry it in by hand?
If there is in your packet a site plan which shows how they would get in from the rear, they could carry it in by
Are
hand.
they able to drive in?
No, I don't believe they're able to drive it. Yep. Could I ask my colleague here to respond to that question, if it's okay with the chairman?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Just when you rise to the podium, just identify yourself so that we know who's talking.
Thank you. My name is Dan Borstein, and I work with and represent Deal Point Merrill. By way of reference, I've been in the storage business for roughly 30 years and very familiar with the product as proposed by Deal Point and can answer all these questions. To get specifically to the question about loading, there are two areas in the back of the building where vehicles would not drive inside the building, but there would be a small area to pull inside, a contained loading area for cars to pull in, small trucks to pull in. They would unload their things, put them on hand carts that would be inside of the building, and they would move things about with hand carts.
Okay. That sounds like somebody that wants to store something big, it'd be kind of hard to do. Normally, you can drive up to the storage units and unload and go right into the storage unit, but you're not going to be allowing that.
That is correct. That's not
Okay,
the type of
thank you.
business I'm here. Yes.
Is that all, Sam?
Yes.
All right. Anybody on my left? Recognizing Deanna Stashow, and I'll come back for David later.
Hi.
We're going to come back.
Considering Westland for your business, we do appreciate it. You spoke about the security of the building. Now, and the individuals that will have access to it, what method are they going to have to secure their areas as far as, is it going to be locks, master locks? Are they going to have a swipe area, the swipe key for that particular unit?
Understood. The way that the operation works is each individual door does have a locking unit. Beyond that, to gain access into the building, everybody would be issued an individual code. They would have to put that code in to be able to gain access to the loading area and to gain access inside of the building. And those records are then also jointly combined with surveillance cameras. So in the event that somebody either tries to come into the facility illegally, if they're not a current valid tenant, those things would be caught either because they have not entered in a code that's valid and or they come in and we have video record of watching that if there was some kind of entry into the building that was
Okay.
illegal.
And then the individual units, will they have just the traditional type of padlock, or is that going to be also some type of other coding?
I don't believe coding, most likely a padlock. There are different types of locking systems that are on the market, all of which have either a padlock that goes on or a standard form of lock, where it's a standard form cylinder that can go in. I don't know what is spec'd right now on the drawings for this particular facility, but each customer then has their own access key to get into their own individual unit, and they're all individual keys.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Returning to the right, is anybody from my right? Recognizing Darrell Rounds.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen. Had a question, just out of curiosity, is Life Storage related to Just Storage as a brand, or
It's a good question, thank you. Life Storage was a third-party operator that Deal Point Merrill previously used to contract with. They do not any longer. They now work under their own brand, which is Just Storage. So they have grown to, Deal Point Merrill's company size has grown to a sufficient size. They decided to run the facilities in a manner that they see is most fit for each community that they're in, is best to do it under their own auspices and run their own brand called Just Storage.
So any images that I see with Life Storage out and on the internet or whatever?
It's a brand-new branding over the last 7 months.
But it gives me an indication on what the space could look like.
Just, it may look like some facilities of Life Storage, but again, that is a separate third-party operator and a separate third-party branding, so.
Okay, my
it's
next
no longer
question has to do with, I guess, the life expectancy of the store itself. How long do you have your oldest stores been in business?
The first facilities built by Deal Point Merrill, interestingly located out in California, but the very first conversions they made of self-storage were here in Michigan. Back, I believe, in 2012 was the first operation.
Yeah, the reason why I'm asking the question, as my colleague, Ms. Statchild mentioned, is we thank you for considering bringing your business here.
Mm-hmm.
If successful, we want the business to thrive and be here, so that was the reason for my question.
One of the reasons I enjoy being associated with Deal Point Merrill is they build, they own, and now they self-operate and have never sold anything.
Okay. And then my last question is that your colleague mentioned that you don't intend to do anything on the exterior. So I was thinking, like, are there any plans for landscaping or anything?
A proposed, is in your packet, is a proposed site plan that has, I believe, landscaping on it, and it's already been indicated what landscaping there would exist if approved.
Okay.
We've submitted that.
All right, thank you. That concludes my comments, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Returning to the left, recognizing Mr. Swokas.
I'm kind of familiar with some of these. I was sharing with my colleagues during our study session. I like that they're a little more upscale. I like that they're climate controlled. I'm wondering, the inside, are they like a carpeted floor, or like how do you prevent like infestation of bugs or things like that? Because we know no matter where you're at, you're going to get bugs somewhere. I mean, you know, some of the nicest homes in the world get those, but I'm just wondering, is it carpeting that you're going to have inside? Because I know that you have more of an upscale client, people who may be traveling back and forth, maybe people who come in, expatriates from overseas, because I know in our area here we have a lot of foreign nationals that come in, whether they're from the Middle East or from Southeast Asia. So I think it's a good thing, and I'm excited about this, but I'm just wondering, if you could tell me a little bit more about what it would look like inside.
Well, the internal flooring systems, there have been tries in the industry to use carpeting. It doesn't work out very well for the back and forth of people using carts and different furniture and such. So they tend to have covered floors. When I say covered, they tend to be like a concrete with an epoxy over it. I don't know what's spec'd in the particular construction, but generally they take the concrete, they either put an epoxy or do a diamond grind down and try to have a high finish to it. So it's a fairly, not slick, falling slick, but slick enough so it's easy to clean the spaces as well as the hallways. The hallways generally are very uniform, very well lit, singular color scheme that goes through for the doors and the metal units that are in there. So it looks very, very clean and very uniform as you go through in the hallways.
And so for the customers to secure their units, you're saying that you're not 100% whether it's going to be a padlock or, I mean, I'm just wondering, the ones I have seen actually have like key card access. Seems to be like that I know a lot of people utilize that, and I know it's not that cost prohibitive with that. But, a lot of people like on the East Coast and particularly like in Washington DC, because you get so many people coming in and out over the years that a lot of people utilize that kind of a storage facility. And I know they're quite popular on the East Coast, especially like New York, Virginia. But I'm just wondering, do you know, can you kind of tell me where you're leaning? Because I'm wondering, for somebody, you might have nicer furniture than the average person, how are you really going to secure that? Because as, wonderful as everybody's intentions are, we know not everybody has the best intentions.
Yes. I don't know the specific lock brand. I know that it's evolving in the industry. There are anywhere from locking units where it does require a padlock to units that come with uniform cylinders that go in. There are products that are relatively new in the market that are electronic. They're not key card swipes, they actually work off of your telephone. There always has to be an evaluation in the community of whether that's going to be accepted. In some communities you go to, and some people are just not as comfortable electronically in doing that. So I don't know exactly the specs at this point, but I can assure you that what is a uniform circumstance is each door will have their own unique locking. So it won't be a joint locking, and it won't be available for one customer to another to get in.
Okay, and then for the Sunday hours, you said that you'd like the option to put Sunday hours, and I think that's great. I think it's just good that anybody can have access, especially if you're a kind of person, you work in corporate America. Sunday may be your only day to do anything, that you can move anything in and out. Is that basically, okay, you might be open occasionally on Sunday, or you might post to the customer to say, okay, we're only going to be open this month on Sundays, or the summer we're not going to do Sundays, or are you going to say, we're definitely going to be open consistently Sunday from these hours?
It's an option that we would appreciate having for that, depending on the demand that we see coming in. We find in some communities, there are some people that view Sundays as being Sundays and religious and don't want to be out, and therefore they're not conducting this kind of business. There are others where you're in communities where people time-wise don't have time during the week, and they prefer to do their business on Sundays. And it's really a community-by-community circumstance to watch, and that's why we appreciate the opportunity to be open on Sundays and watch for that.
What would those hours be potentially?
Same hours.
So like a 9 to 6?
Oftentimes Sundays are truncated hours in the operations, 10 to 3, but there's no guarantee. But that would be the maximum of the normal hours.
Okay, yeah, I'm real happy about this, and I thank you for agreeing to come to Westland. Westland's a great city, and that section, I think this is, for me, it's an ideal use, and it's something that's not intensive or invasive, and it fills a purpose, and I think it'll do quite well here, like I said, because the area, we have so many expatriates, like I said, from the Middle East, Southeast Asia. I know, in neighboring communities that people will want to have a place to store their furniture and things like that, or their things, if they're, especially even too military people, you go somewhere for a year, you're on a year assignment, you may be a single person, you need to store your things. So I appreciate you coming here, and I'll definitely be in support of this.
I know Deal Point is very excited to be here. I was on the phone with the CEO of the company just prior to the meeting. He was very aware of the meeting this evening, and he's excited to be here as well.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Swokas. Anybody additionally on my right? Mr. Hopkins?
Yes. Thank you. A couple things. So as my colleague mentioned, Sam, that there was not an opening for automobiles to come in, so I assume that this is not the kind of place where you can store your classic Mustang then, correct?
Correct. That's
okay. So they're a bit smaller than that. I know, do you have anything in place that says what someone cannot store, like hazardous material? You mentioned hospitals, yes. So that kind of got my wheels turning. What are you allowing to be stored, or do you have a list of things that, oh no, this is against the rules?
There is a list that's very specific on the things that are allowed and not allowed, and generally the managers then query the customers and also let them know the things that are not allowed, explosive materials, hazardous materials, things of that nature, yes.
Okay, and then my final thought is I understand that the kind of the popular way to move these days is with a pod. So I would imagine that if someone were moving into the area, they would be dropping pods off in the parking lot. Is there some kind of time restraint or length of time that something like that could sit around while they unload or potentially come into town?
Thank you for that question. I always like to discuss the difference between, I've been in the business for over 30 years, to discuss the difference between self-storage and the pod business. In this case, it would never see a pod. The pod business is one in which the pod company transports the pods, brings them to the customer, and they pick them up and bring them to their own dedicated warehouse. So a pod will not go to a self-storage and leave themselves out at a self-storage property.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hopkins. Returning to my left, would Ms. Fox like to be recognized?
Thank you. My question is, how many units do you plan to have, and are they going to be varying sizes, or one size? Yeah.
The layout calls for, I believe, a little over 1,000 units. And yes, they all vary in size. In the storage business, the sizes go on a 5-foot or 10-foot increment. The smallest sizes tend to be a 5 by 5 size unit. The largest sizes tend to be about a 10 by either 25 deep, sometimes 30. And then there's varying sizes in between. Your more typical size is about a 10 by 10, which would be 10 feet by 10 feet. 10 by 15 is the other most popular size that is usually available in the facilities. And when you look at what's referred to as a unit mix, the sizes, there's about a bell curve in there. So your smallest units, there's some, not a tremendous number. And then you get to the middle sizes, and that's the majority of it. And then the larger sizes, there's less. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Returning to my right, recognizing Ruby Richards.
I had a question on security, because you say you'll have 4 people that'll be working from 9 to 6, and they'll leave, and you'll have security cameras. Do you feel as though you don't need a security guard there at all?
No, it's very typical in the industry to operate with a security camera system, because it's not just a camera system. They're integrated together, so the access is integrated together with the cameras. So, for example, you'll have a camera system, and those cameras will usually motion activated, so as people come in, that's recording anywhere where people are going, and it's also recording at the same time when somebody is putting in an access code. You need your access code to be able to get into the facility. So there's no way of getting in. And then beyond that, your key only works on one particular door.
Okay, so if you see somebody tampering with it, the security cameras will catch that and send the police over?
That security system, no, the thing that would send police over is an exterior alarm system on the doors, and I believe that they have planned a alarm system on the exterior doors if somebody was trying to pry it open, for example, and then, yes, that would send a signal out.
Okay, thank you, that's it.
Thank you very much. Before I take my turn, Ms. Hobbs, did you have anything you want to?
I think that building has been vacant for a long time, and it's nice to see a business interest in the area. I think it's really far set back from the road. In terms of the dining, walking vision, it's a really far setback, and so even if that area were to develop in that way, I think it would be probably closer to the road anyhow, and so that use in that building for right now, I think, is great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hobbs. I'm going to echo a lot of what my board has said, but before I do, I wanted to recognize that we did have a late arrival of a citizen. Sir, did you have something that you wanted to comment on this matter? Gentlemen, without objection, I'll hear his commentary. Hearing no objection. Gentlemen, can I have you temporarily seat? Please come to the podium and identify yourself, sir.
My name is William Mosier. I live at 7031 Deerhurst Drive. And I couldn't hear much of what was going on. I couldn't understand it. The volume was low, or I couldn't understand what was being said. But I have a couple of comments. So I live in the Deerhurst condominium complex, and they're proposing this just to be done in our wooded area right behind our condos, that we actually have, it wasn't premium lots, but they were the best lots because of the wooded area behind it. And now we're going to lose that, and we're going to have a commercial thing going on.
No, you're not.
Okay? So that's my one concern. Number two is, I don't really know why we need another storage facility in the area. I looked just before I came over here, and there are at least 15 in the immediate area. And I've used one on Joy Road in Plymouth, or I think it was Plymouth, it might be on Westland. But we have all these facilities already in the area, and I just don't know why we need to cut down trees and put up buildings for this type of facilities. And the other thing is, I'm concerned about security back in that area. Even though it sounds like, at least from what I could understand, is there security guards going to be there, but not all night. And there's cameras, which is after the fact, if something happens, it's not during a crime or anything like that, so I'm concerned about that. So I'd like to have that addressed. Am I wrong on any of these assumptions?
You can't possibly be wrong, sir. You have your opinions, and we want to hear them.
Pardon me?
You can't possibly be wrong, sir. Your opinions are always
Okay.
valid.
But I mean, is it, they're going to take down those woods back there? Is that what they're proposing?
I'll address that with them, and they'll respond whether that is their plan or not. What I have in front of me does not indicate that's the case, but I'll ask them directly.
Okay. And one thing along that same line is, if they take down all these trees, isn't there something rule in Michigan, if you cut down trees, you have to plant trees or something?
That's handled municipally, city by city.
Yeah.
And our city is currently revising and rethinking our tree policy. But generally speaking, you're correct, that sort of thing does exist, but I don't see that they're proposing to cut down any trees.
So that's not in effect at this point then?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
So Westland doesn't have it like other cities do? Okay. All right, well, those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. May I please have the petitioner back up so that I can put some of these questions to you? So first, would you like to address the tree concern? I also share the concern. Like it's always a concern that whenever there's a significant change nearby a living area, a place where residents are, that they like progress in the city. They just don't like things to change around them. I'm sure anybody that studied civics is familiar with the term NIMBY, not in my backyard. We want things to improve in our city, but we don't want things to change for us. So I guess the question is there any plan to take down any of the screening vegetation or improve the screening vegetation? And I am aware that it is in the proposal, but perhaps you could just say it in plain language for us right here.
Sure. That's a very good concern. Everybody wants to make sure that there's not, if there's a vegetation, there's a tree or a woods there. No, we are removing no trees, 0 trees. We are building 0 new buildings. There will be no change in the exterior. There will be no new buildings. There will be no taking down of any trees. There will be no change in the lighting. Nothing. From the outside, it will look exactly the same. We're not proposing any of that. We have submitted a landscape plan which will be addressed at site plan approval. The city has ordinances which require certain screening, adjacency to protect exactly that. And that will all be addressed at the site plan stage. At this point, we're merely seeking a special land use approval. The next step, my understanding, is to go to city council, who would then give the ultimate decision, and then we would return back for site plan approval. So no removal of trees, No new buildings.
Next issue that I wanted to have you comment on is the security concerns. Obviously, the board has questioned you about your security protocols. There will be security increased in a need for security increased in the area because there will be a business there and there currently is not. And I'll take this opportunity to thank both of you gentlemen for bringing your business to Westland. Regardless of whether this proposal is approved or not, we very much appreciate you coming to us and bringing your business here. So the gentleman is obviously concerned because there may be situations where you have your customers coming in late at night making deliveries, drop-offs. I know the discussion of the nature of your facility indicates that maybe you've got lawyers dropping off lawyer files. We like to operate in the dead of night when nobody can see what we're up to. That's how we roll. The question obviously is going to be, are there going to be people hanging out late at night for extended periods of time that might actually give them pause because they live very close?
My understanding is that there will not be physical human being exterior security guards at this facility.
That's correct.
There would not be that. There would be the security cameras. It would be, there would be employees there from 9 in the morning until 6 at night. There would be security cameras. It is part of a larger shopping center, which I assume has its own security systems. So it's, you know, there would also be that layer of security. But directly to answer your question, no, a rent-a-cop, a security person, no, that's not what we're proposing.
And in the event that your cameras did pick up an individual, say, sleeping in their car in your parking lot, it would be your policy to call for local PD to come and check them out?
Absolutely.
Okay. Security.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
There was a mention about Sunday hours. Is Sunday hours a thing that your business would like to have and that you imagine that we would prefer restricted?
I think, to answer your question, yes, the business would like Sunday hours. That's why we're asking for the option. And to be clear, we're planning Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6, that there be somebody, personnel, I don't want to use the word manned, but there would be personnel in the building, okay? If you are an existing customer, you have 24/7 access. So the fact of what are your hours of operation, the 9 to 6 is when someone would be behind the desk if you're a new customer and you want to come in and sign a new lease. If you want to take the lease home, talk about it, come back, there would be personnel there working in the building from 9 to 6. Sunday hours, when we talk about hours, we're talking about when would we have personnel in the building to accept new customers. And yes, we would like to do that on Sunday if there's a demand for it, absolutely. And we would be willing to do that.
Well, we're not going to demand it, but we might consider an amendment to the approval allowing the Sunday hours. Is that something that can be done?
That's not part of the special land use approval. You can condition hours of operation.
But not expand them. Thank you very much, administration. I personally wouldn't have a problem with it. Now, there was a mention earlier about a concern over commercial vehicle rental services.
Yes.
And you made it very clear that that is not an intention for your business in any way, shape, or form. Would you, and certainly I don't want, if whoever the decision maker actually is here, would you be comfortable if our approval was conditioned that there shall be no commercial vehicle rental services?
Yes.
That would be a thing that you would be comfortable with.
Yes.
And whomever the motion maker is, please add that to your motion. Because it is something that I would prefer, and I will be very clear. I, just like this gentleman, have noticed that we have quite a number of storage facilities, nothing quite like what you're proposing here in the city of Westland, and some of them have been less than cooperative with their promises. And we certainly are a little bit guarded, but we certainly do like your proposal, and we find you to be very reputable. And I'm certainly a little bit more comfortable myself, because not only that, but I'm sure that you're aware, the zone in which that you are proposing your storage facility is part of our designated shop and dine area. It's supposed to be for entertainment, for retail services, and to get that sort of flow moving. I personally believe that that zone might be a little bit too far reaching, that you might be on the edge of it, and that we, as a master plan, should probably be pulling that back a little bit. However, currently, that's where you're at, and it gives me a little bit of pause, because it is one of our responsibilities to be true to our master plan.
Which is a guide.
Which
But
is a
yes,
guide.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, and that's your job.
Now, that being said, I can't help but notice that this proposal has been in negotiation for some amount of time, some number of months. We've been seeing it get postponed, and I'm aware that you've gone through some negotiation with the administration, because at some point in time, they were not in favor of this, and as I see the proposal now, the administration is recommending approval. Can you please let us know what, if there's been any accommodations that have?
We have been in the application process with the city administration for several months. We have worked cooperatively together. The planning department has been wonderful. We have gone back and forth. They have made suggestions. We've come back, and we are excited about it. And I think that's the way it should happen. I mean, I think that's exactly the way the process is supposed to work. And so just like the administration's the starting point, they look at the ordinances, they tell us, you fit, you don't, you're on the edge, you're a little teetering, no, this is not allowed, there are variances, things of that nature. That's exactly why variances exist. So I don't think it's been unusually long. I don't have a lot of history with Westland, but I do represent a lot of developers. I've been an elected official. I've been a planning commissioner, and so I know how the system works. And as long as everybody's cooperative and no one's screaming and hollering and threatening lawsuits, and which we're certainly not doing, that's the way the system's supposed to work, in my opinion.
And just in the interest of absolute transparency, the administration did mention that the petitioners committed to make some sort of a donation.
Yes,
can you please let us know that?
I can certainly tell you the genesis of that.
Love to.
I'm sorry?
I'd love to hear it, mostly because I want to disambiguate. I don't want anybody assuming the nature of it.
No. The applicant, Dew Point Merrill, is out of California, okay? There were 9 states, by the way, but California's their home state. And every state has different laws with respect to zoning and planning matters. In Michigan, we have a statute that allows community benefits that can be offered by an applicant, cannot be demanded by a municipality. You can't do that. You can't say, we will not approve this unless you pay or this or that. You can't do that in Michigan. However, an applicant under a specific statute, MCO 125.3405, the applicant can say, if there are perceived detriments, we can try to accommodate that. In this instance, in June, the applicant approached the city about, with respect to a possible community development benefits agreement, and the point is to reduce any concerns of any increased public services, police, fire, demands, roadscapes, things of that nature. And it started out and ended up with the applicant and the city's attorney jointly drafting a community benefits agreement, which I have seen. I didn't draft it. I believe the city's attorney did the first draft. But the applicant's attorney out of California have been working with that jointly, which is exactly allowed under the law. The city did not, I'll say this for the record, demand anything. Did not demand anything. It was an offer which the Michigan statutes allow.
Thank you so much. As a practicing attorney, I assumed something like that was true. I just wanted to make sure that it got on the record before somebody asked the question and was upset that we did not actually address it.
That came from us.
So thank you very much for all your candor and answering our questions. I have nothing further for you, and I'll offer the floor one last time to the board. Seeing two, I'll start with Sam briefly, and briefly back to David. Sam?
Are you leasing or buying this property?
We're purchasing the property.
Any plans for an outer building?
Any plans for, I'm sorry?
Outer building. In other words, the front part of that parking lot, do you have plans
to expand?
No, sell it to somebody so they can put another building up there. That's an outlot.
Oh, no. We don't own the center. We would merely be purchasing what you see there. Okay?
Just the building, not the property.
Yeah, we're not purchasing the property. Well, no, we're not purchasing the property, just the building. There would be no outlots or expansions.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Swilkus has removed his request for the floor. However, motion is now in order.
I'll make that motion.
Recognizing David Swilkus for the motion.
I move that we close public hearing on case number 1686H, special land use approval for proposed self-storage warehouse on Warren Road, south side of Warren, west of Central City, subject to departmental requirements and recommendations with the following caveats, that there be no, I guess you want to call it vehicle or truck rental or storage, that you went on the record and said that there was going to be no removal of trees, and other than that, I don't think there was anything else. And send this to the city council with the recommendation for approval, subject to those things.
Support.
Is that, thank you. Motion by Swilkus. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Motion by Swilkus and seconded by, sorry, Durante. Roll call, please.
Okay, this is a roll call vote to recommend approval of case number 1686H with the records, with the conditions read on the record, stated on the record. Durante?
Yes.
Folks?
Yes.
Hobbs?
Yes.
Hopkins? Yes. Richards?
Yes.
Rounds?
Yes.
Statchow?
Yes.
Swilkus?
Yes.
And Rappaport?
Yes.
It's approved.
All right. Motion carries unanimously. Gentlemen, you can get with the administration, and they'll get you to next steps. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, citizens, for participating. Very much appreciated. At this time, we have now concluded the action items on our agenda. We can move on to commissioners' comments. If there are any, I'll start on this side, come towards me, and finish over there with the administration. Recognizing Sam Durante. You don't want to say anything? Okay. Darrell Rounds.
I was thinking about talking to something about something else. Sorry.
You have nothing, Darryl?
Caught me off guard.
I'm glad it all worked out.
Fantastic. Commissioner Hobbs.
Have a good evening, everybody.
Commissioner Hopkins. Commissioner Richards.
Everyone have a blessed day.
Commissioner Swilkus.
Happy belated birthday to Commissioner Hopkins. We missed him last month since we didn't have a meeting, and he's now in the 50-plus club, so I'm glad not to be by myself, even though I'm closer to the 60 club, but welcome to the old man's club.
Yeah, it sucks. Commissioner Stashow.
Look forward to having additional business coming to Westland, and have a good evening, everyone.
Commissioner Folks.
Yes, where does that put others that are past the 50-year mark? Yes, yes. Well, good evening to everyone.
Administration.
I have nothing. I'm going to leave right after this to catch what's remaining of my daughter's soccer game.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
Well, then I'll keep my commentary uncharacteristically short. I'm very, oh, Sam, would you like another shot at the apple? Oh, that's the next item up on the agenda. All right, thanks, everybody. I know this one was a lengthy particular item. I very much appreciated everybody's commentary on this. Thank you very much. With that, the next item on the agenda is for adjournment. I believe we have a motion from Mr. Durante and supported from Ms. Richards. All those in favor, aye? Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none. Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.